Welcome. Welcome to another video. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for some more Winston Wu logic? Well, I'm going to give you guys some Winston Wu logic. I'm going to give you more of it in future videos. So without further ado, I got some Winston Wu related notes that I took, that I put together on paper. I'm going to be reading some things on paper from 1 through 17, and it's the taboo, tattletale truth, more of it, of the United States, and I'm going to give an overseas perspective of what I saw when I was overseas in Europe and Asia, in countries like Italy, Greece, Turkey, and Cyprus. And, give a good contrast to how things are in those countries compared to what I'm going to be reading on the list of the U.S. of how things are in the U.S. from 1 through 17. So, without further ado, let me get this thing started off. Okay. Number 1, the United States is an isolated, all-business, serious, ridiculously strict, workaholic, greedy, repressed, paranoid, mean-spirited, antisocial, narrow-minded, closed-off country. Number 2, nobody in America will never talk to you. People will talk to you unless it's for business-related purposes. Number 3, America is not a happy place. It doesn't have freedom, human connection, or social connection. Number 4, the people in America don't look happy at all. They don't radiate inner joy or blitz. They don't look happy. They can say they're happy, but they don't look happy. They look miserable and repressed. And you can see it in general. Anywhere you go, especially in the suburbs, and even in the church, even in the cities, people look grouchy, grumpy, and dissatisfied. Americans in general aren't the happiest people in the world. The truth is, Americans are the least happiest people. Number 5, Americans are a bunch of brain-dead zombies on their jobs and not brain-dead zombies when not working at their jobs. They will ignore you and cut you dead in a sentence when talking to them. Number 6, they're always rushing by getting to school, getting to work, or anywhere they need to go. Number 7, Americans work longer hours for less pay on their jobs. They have to stay at a job that they don't like in order to have health insurance. They will lose their health care if they quit their job. Number 8, where is the better life and freedom at? Freedom. What I never understood is why America thinks it's such a free country, and all the other countries don't have freedom. They act like America is like a shiny beacon of freedom, and all the countries in the world wish it has the freedoms that the U.S. has. Which applies that other countries don't have freedom and only America does. That belief or that idea is not based on anything legit or reasonable or logical. In reality, every country has laws, rules, and regulations to follow. And America is no exception. In America, there are a lot of laws you have to follow. If you don't follow them, you will be punished. Number 9, Americans, not all, are 100% antisocial. When you go out, you'll never meet people at all, not once. And it feels taboo and illegal to talk to strangers. It's like you're breaking the law or something. It's weird. It is really, really weird. You got people in America who hate people and don't like to be around them. They want to be around their kids and spouse. They want to be around their kids and spouse. They don't want you to talk about their spouse to other people and want you to mind your own business. Plus, they hate traveling to other countries. Number 10. In the law enforcement communities, there are cliques. Just like cliques among normal people, police officers have a small group of people with shared interests or other features in common who spend time together and do not really allow others who aren't like them to join them. Number 11, you just get superficial small talk from people in other parts of the U.S. Number 12, people who are overworked on their jobs are slaves to the system. Number 13, Americans, not all, love to put down other countries all the time. They are like white supremacists when it comes to putting down other countries. They do it to make their country and themselves superior. They do it along with loving their country and being proud to be Americans by being good patriots. Patriotic Americans think they are gods. They think they are the best at everything. They think they're so superior on the knowledge of the U.S. Constitution and all the amendments in it. They view the Founding Fathers as perfect gods and view the Constitution as a Bible. But they will freak out and lose their minds on little stuff like someone tells the truth about the culture. Some of the people in the thought of the U.S. staying loyal to Great Britain and never rebelling against it as a group of 13 British colonies on the Atlantic coast of North America. They are nothing more than a bunch of babies. Number 14. There is no sense of human connection in America. Now, this is something very obvious that you can see in public. You can go to any public setting or scene in the United States or Canada and see people isolated in bubbles. There's a psychological wall around people, and it's not as physical as psychological. There's a segregation of people into these bubbles. It makes it hard to meet people. There is this isolation mentality between strangers. There is this ice wall, and when you meet someone for the first time or trying to chat up a stranger in the US or Canada, there is a term called breaking the ice with a stranger. It assumes that there is an ice wall between strangers, which basically means a barrier between people. And it makes it really hard to meet people because there's no sense of natural human connection or inclusiveness by default between people. And so that makes it difficult as well as unnatural to meet people. And that's why most people in America don't feel very confident or comfortable meeting people. They're conditioned to feel that it's an awkward thing. So when they feel awkward about meeting people, then other people feel awkward about meeting them. it snowballs into a very antisocial, isolationist society. And that's what the US and Canada is. Number 15. People are paranoid and think everybody is out to get them in the United States. They think everybody is dangerous. So people just keep to themselves and keep their interaction with people they know. In America, every man is an island, and people don't know their neighbors. That is uncommon in the rest of the world. Number 16. Americans just conform to everything and never question it. They will never challenge or criticize it. One of the things they conform to is the custom to leave a tip. The norm to leave a tip in the US is not even optional. It's considered an obligation. It is unethical and illogical. It is an infringement on free will. It should be your choice if you want to leave a tip or not. America contradicts itself. Okay, sorry about me stumbling on some of the things that I written on paper as notes. I was just writing really fast, and I was saying some things that didn't make a whole lot of sense. I'll just read one thing and just go on to something else. The other side of the coin with being overseas and how people are overseas. But they will freak out and lose their mind on little stuff like someone tells the truth about the culture, some of the people, and the thought of the U.S. staying loyal to Great Britain and never rebelling against it as a group of 13 British colonies on the Atlantic coast of North America. They are nothing more than a bunch of babies. That's about the American patriots. So, okay, doesn't look really good in the U.S. now, doesn't it? Doesn't look good at all. I guess what I read came out right. Okay, just checking. I'm sorry about that, folks. I just want to make some sense in this video. So anyway, let me give the other side of the coin of how things are overseas. Okay, when I went overseas, I noticed this, and I know this. I remember I went to Greece, went to one of the islands that were part of Greece, and I went up this mountain on this monorail, like elevator style gondolier that went way up to this city on top of this island. And there were some steps that you can walk to go all the way up there, because, well, if you go all the way up there on the steps instead of the gondolier, that's a long walk up those steps, if you can put up with it. Well, me personally, I can put up with it, but, if you're old, yeah, you can't do it. If you're young, go for it. Anyway, on this city, on top of this mountain, me and my sister walked through the city. It was a village, Don't know what the name of it is. Me and my sister walked through this village, and we went to this restaurant. Well, this shop that sell drinks. And my sister went in and bought me and herself some drinks. 2 big bottles of water. And the bottles of water were big. Okay, my sister was impressed with how nice the the woman, the cashier at the shop was. So my sister said, "Oh, she was being so nice. I'm going to give her a tip." And when my sister gave the woman a tip, the woman told her, "Well, I don't want the money. I'm just doing my job. I mean, that's not necessary." And I can give a cite on that. Well, I live in the United States and I'm aware of the tipping culture, and I don't care for tips. I don't leave tips. I think leaving a tip is not necessary, and the tipping culture is out of control in the U.S. because well, I think people who work at restaurants don't make enough money, and people had to give them tips. Leave $1 or more money on the table on one of the tables at the restaurant. And I look at that, I think these greedy restaurants need to pay their employees more. And in Europe, especially in Greece, I don't know, this is my opinion, it's an equal playing field. Employers pay their employees more, and there's no need for you to leave them a tip. And I heard this from Winston Wu on one of the videos on his Happier Abroad YouTube channel. And he talked about Chinese people who work at restaurants, Chinese restaurants. They work really fast cooking the food, and they move so fast and you won't be able to give them a tip. And that's what I heard. So, if I'm in an environment like that, I don't care. They can work as fast as they want. I just want my food, and I'm not going to bother leaving a tip. And there's this thing in the U.S. that you have to leave a tip. Leave a tip. Give a waiter a tip at a restaurant. If you don't do that, if you don't do anything like that, you're considered greedy and selfish. And it's an infringement on your free will. I mean, it's up to you if you want to leave people a tip or not. But in countries like Greece and Europe, there's no need for you to do that because that's unnecessary. Because people there get paid more, and they work in a equal playing field compared to the U.S. So there's no need for you to leave a tip. And anyway, I noticed when I was on this Royal Caribbean cruise ship called Odyssey of the Seas, sailing to these countries that I went to in the Mediterranean Sea. I was gone for 13 days back in October. I noticed a Jamaican man who was with his family. He had a little daughter, a little girl who was his daughter, and his wife. And I walked past him, on the deck around where the swimming pools and the jacuzzis were at. He said hi to me. I said hi to him back, and I spoke to some people on the ship, and they were from other countries, and I spoke to some Americans. And I noticed the people who work on the cruise ship, I noticed when you say, in this, I got this American mindset, I want to get rid of it. I want to be more like the Europeans. Yeah, I noticed while I was speaking to someone at the help desk, while I was changing my American dollars into euros. After that was completed, I said thank you to the service person at the help desk, and it was a white guy. He was kind of fat, his hair was all greasy and slicked back, and he didn't say anything. So when I went to change my American dollars into euros, another day. And I remember that saying thank you to him is kind of pointless. So I didn't say anything because, he's just doing his job. So, I noticed how some people in Europe are, if you say thank you to them, or if you say, hi, how are you doing? They're not going to say anything. They're going to ignore you. So, next time I go to Europe, so, I got to keep that in mind, because, the culture in European countries is different compared to the U.S. I'm not going to say that Europeans are all rude. They're nice, friendly people, and they are. And I noticed when I was in Turkey, I was on this tour bus, and you guys saw it in one of the videos of my trip overseas that I posted on this channel. And when I got off this bus, I was in this old ancient town, and I went and bought some souvenirs. And I bought the souvenirs from the guy. I noticed that I can talk to the people, and I just didn't want to do it. I just had this mindset. The U.S. messed me up. I've been in the U.S. And, when you go and pay for stuff, when I went to buy things in the U.S., cashiers would let me speak. They ignored me. They cut me off when I answered. When I give them an answer, they ask me a question. I open my mouth to talk. They cut me off in a sentence. I got used to that, and that's why I go around in the U.S. and be so silent. But when I was over there in Turkey in that village, buying souvenirs, like, the guy that was an old man, he wanted to talk to me, and when I left the village, he was standing outside of his shop. And he said something to me. I just ignored him and just kept walking. It's this shyness and rudeness, and the U.S. did that to me. And it did. It ruined me. I was like angry, and I was bitter. I was just empty and silent. I couldn't say anything, when I was around my parents and my sister. But when I wasn't around them, I was afraid to talk to people. And when I was shooting pool in the music hall in the cruise ship, I talked to this old American couple. They were playing pool. I was telling them where the pool sticks were, and they didn't say anything to me. They just ignored me. And this old woman, the wife, sung a song that was playing over the PA by Tina Turner, and she sung it. And I talked to this white guy, and he just say, "Oh, about me playing pool, and I didn't get a chance to play pool when I was a kid." He just he just say, "Oh," and just walked away. And some people talked to me, well, they were Americans basically, and they were, and I was thinking, and I was afraid to talk to Europeans, and when I got on this flight in New York and JFK, there was this Italian girl, and she was in my way, blocking me from getting on the getting on the plane, the Italian flight to Italy. And I heard my dad yelled at me and said, "Come on, tell that girl to get out of the way." I said, "I can't get out of the way. She's in my way." And the girl said, "Excuse me," to me, and I didn't say anything. And she just looked at me and smiled at me. And it was a warm smile. It was a real smile. It wasn't a fake smile. And I got that from more of the Italian people at this Italian airport in Rome, Italy. And when I was when I was going through the airport to catch a flight back to the States. So, it showed me that, people overseas, even though there's good and bad over there, but, you can socialize with those people. You can be yourself. And you can. And, And I noticed why that guy, that help desk, wouldn't say anything to me, because he was busy. Basically, because if he's not working, he's not on his job, he's not doing his job, then he'd probably be able to talk to me. But when people like him get on the job and start working, you can't speak to them. You gotta let them do their job. And there's no point of socializing with them while they're working. But some Europeans are not like that. I remember on this past cruise ship that I was on, and a guy from a European country at this help desk, while I was changing my American dollars into euros, he wanted to talk to me, and I just didn't have it in me to speak to him, because I was just torn down by the toxic, loop-sided, messed up environment in a part of America that I lived in. So, so that's a good comparison between, overseas and what I read on paper in notes. So, yeah. So, well, anyway, I know that one of you who are from other countries, if you're from Europe, um, you know, there's a country I want to live in Europe, but I want to give you guys. I want to hear an answer from one of you guys. Okay, any one of you who is from Europe. Okay, I mean, what country? What is the best country in Europe should I live in? I'm looking at France or Belgium. So, which is the best country for me to live in? You guys can post your answer in the comment section. You got to be from Europe. You can't be from Australia or New Zealand or the US or Canada. You got to be from Europe. If you're European, just give me an answer. I would appreciate that. You don't have to say anything if you want to or not. I understand, like, part of the European culture. And, I'm not shocked or surprised. I just gotta learn that European culture and see what's right and what's not right. What to say and what not to say, and what to do and what not to do. Yeah, I just felt sad, coming back to the US, because, I kind of like being overseas. It felt great, I felt alive a little bit, even though I was around a lot of toxic people, namely my family, my parents and my sister. If they weren't with me and I was all alone, yeah, yeah, I'll be more alive, and I can break out of my shell easily and won't be scared or afraid. I gotta fight fear. And, I got to be aware of pickpocketing in Europe. People will rob you. I almost was a victim of pickpocketing here in the U.S., in Bossier City, Louisiana, and on the cruise ship, Odysseys of the Seas, the Royal Caribbean cruise ship, back in October. So yeah, I almost got pickpocketed by a woman, her husband, and they had two children. This was in not Shreveport, Louisiana. This was in Bossier City, Louisiana, across from the Red River. And the woman used some tactics. She showed her booty in a pair of jeans, to get my attention. I saw her, and I didn't freak out or nothing, and I didn't get a boner through this. I just saw her and I ignored her. I said to myself, I saw her at Best Buy. Yeah, because I was in Best Buy. I was looking for a Amazon Fire TV stick for a TV in my house, and you know, I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one in Texas, so I went to Louisiana and found one in at Target. Yeah, when I went to Target, I saw that woman, her husband, and her two children. The same people I saw. Yeah, they were in Best Buy, and it was a trap. They want to pickpocket somebody, and that's all that was. So I gotta be very very careful. Yeah, like if you want to go overseas, do this. Don't carry around your carry-on bag in public. On the streets of a city and town in any country in Europe or anywhere else that has a pickpocketing problem. Um, don't carry a carry-on bag. Um, if you have a wallet, money, put things in the side pockets of your pants. Don't put anything in the back pocket. And just be vigilant. Just know your surroundings. Practice some practice some common sense, and stay out of trouble. If you do that, you'll be fine. And you don't need to be in that American paranoid the American paranoid mode, which I was in a little bit overseas, and I broke out of it and kept going back into it, and I finally broke out of it, you know. So so that's all I gotta say in this video. Sorry about it being long. So I have to say what I want to say, to get to compare, how things are in the U.S. with things overseas. So that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching the video. Au revoir. Merci. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Bye.